Thank you. My journey begins when I was 7 years old. My father just passed away, left a big emptiness inside me. I still remember the day he died. He was lying on the bed. He opened his eyes, looked at me, smiled, and shed a tear. He then closed his eyes. That was the last time I saw my father. A year later, my mother remarried, and we moved to England. I went to school there, in Myland, East London. I tried to make friends, but it was very, very difficult. Perhaps I was still missing my father a lot. I had that emptiness. I didn't speak a lot, I didn't smile, didn't laugh. One day, I saw the kids playing in football in the playground, and I asked if I could play. They said yes. And I started to play. Just a little while later, they told me to leave because I was rubbish. I felt very sad at that time, and still empty. I was missing my dad. I felt unprotected, and I didn't understand why he wasn't with me anymore. Coming home from school one day, I found a football, and I decided to learn how to play football in order to make friends. I went home every day, lived in a block of flats, and just behind there was a green area with a very big green fence. I used to spend an hour to 2 hours every single day by myself, just kicking the ball. I didn't have any friends to play with. And my brothers, they didn't like football, so they did their own stuff. A couple of weeks later, I remember this man that lived in the bottom flat, and he had the window next to the fence. He came out and asked me what I was trying to do, every day kicking the ball at the fence. And I told him I wanted to learn football. And I just couldn't flick the ball up in the air as much as I tried. So he told me he was going to teach me. A little while later, after kicking the ball so many times, all of a sudden the ball went up in the air. I think my face just said it all. Happiness, great big smile of joy. I looked at the man, and he was smiling with joy. Looking back at it now, perhaps he was so happy because I would stop making so much noise just outside his window. I then, a few days later at school, I asked to play football again, and they let me play again. I lasted the whole match, and once it finished, this boy named Steve, which later became a good friend of mine, came to me and said I was good, and if I wanted to play in his team every single day. You can imagine how happy I was. I had made friends. From there on, I started playing in a local club, and also in the school team, which made me a little bit of a popular person. And I made a lot of friends there. Gradually, I had found the passion of football, but I also found that passion was filling in the emptiness of losing my father. At the age of 15, my mother decided to move back to Gibraltar. So I carried on with football, and I started to play in local clubs. And eventually, I was selected for the national team, the youth national team. Great moment for me was when we went to America. We played a tournament there, representing Gibraltar. Great experience and a wonderful moment. But from that day, one thing was clear in my mind. I wanted to become a professional player. I was then given a trial in La Valona, a Spanish professional club, which I went there. They were happy with what they saw, and then they asked me to go again before they took a decision. Life took a turning, and at the young age of 17, I was to become a father. Being a father was going to be my priority in life. I got married. My first child was born, Chrisanne, followed by my second daughter, Francesca. The marriage didn't work out, unfortunately, and we got divorced. And then I met my wife, Angela. She had 2 kids, Jovan, and Sarah Jane. And soon we had our own child, Allen Jr. All of a sudden, we had 5 kids, and we used to take them everywhere and spend loads of time with them, and it was just absolutely great. It's marvelous, you know, big handful, problematic sometimes, but absolutely beautiful. In 1997, my wife and I decided to go to England. Allen Jr., he started to play football for his school team and a local club, and I used to go and watch him every single day. One day, the manager asked me if I wanted to help in coaching, and I said yes. I spent many, many hours with Junior in training, in the games, and taking him all over UK to have some trials. Passion for football came back into me, which I had lost. But in a way, I was reliving my dream through my son. I even brought the team, Dover Rangers, to Gibraltar for a tournament. It was a great experience, a wonderful time. Junior carried on playing, and it was showing big promises of becoming a professional player. I was shocked when Junior came up to me and said, "Dad, I want to leave football." I was frustrated, angry, but I had to accept his decision. But I still remember his words to me. "Dad, you've just regained the passion for football. You're a great coach. Carry on what you're doing. Whatever you do, do not give up." My wife Angela said the same, and she told me to fulfill my dream. Which I did. Obviously, I carried on, and from there, I moved over to a semi-professional club, Dover Athletics. By this time, my kids had grown up, and I was made a grandfather, which now I've got 7 grandchildren. Wonderful kids, love them to bits. Again, a handful when they're all together, but life wouldn't be nothing without them. The youngest one, Sophie, there. So I took the job in Slovakia. In Dover Athletics. I was approached by a first division club in Slovakia, MFK Košice, to take on the job as academy manager. That was going to be a full professional contract, and something I couldn't turn down. And I said, why not? Take a shot at it. I went over there, joined the club, and straight away the culture was very, very different. Little did I know that it snowed over there 3 months a year, and we still had to train and play. I still remember over there people telling me at the beginning, when you speak very loud, when you use your hands like we all do, be careful because people over here might think that you're making an aggressive gesture. And that was due to the past over there, that they lived under the communism and the Soviet Union. And there were, you know, only the soldiers and all that used to speak loud. But I had 7 wonderful years in that club and learned a lot, a very big experience there. And I got to become head of football development and head of international affairs. I could only have done this due to one very special person in my life. My pillar, my foundation, my biggest support, my wife Angela. Thanks to her, I lived my dream. I owe everything to her. Thank you, Angela, wherever you are. Gibraltar came knocking on my door, and when your nation comes knocking on your door, you can't say no. And I took on the job of national team manager. We all know what it entails. Gibraltar finally reached that very, very long road and became a UEFA member. There was happiness, joy, and celebrations. But the toughest toughest road was still to come. We had to compete against the giants of Europe, Gibraltar was going to enter the Euro 2016 qualifiers. Lucky us, we landed in the group of death. Lucky us. We had Germany there, and a few months later, Germany was to become the world champions. We started playing, and we played against Poland, Georgia, Ireland, but our biggest game was still to come, Germany. On the 14th of November 2014, in Nuremberg, Germany, the David and Goliath scene was set. Little Gibraltar was to face the mighty world champions, Germany. Stadium packed, 48,000, plus 20 million TV viewers. I still remember we were doing the warm-up and looking at the tunnel where the Germans was, and the music started and the crowd started to roar, and all of a sudden they started to come out, and I just looked at them and I thought, oh shit, what the hell is coming out of that tunnel? My players had to face that. What a day. The match started and ended. My players were warriors. They left sweat, blood, everything they needed to live on that pitch. And even though we lost that match, we came out as winners. And straight away after that match, the world recognized what my players had done. Little Gibraltar has stood up against the world champions and had delivered. So from a little boy lost in Milan, playing football, just to make friends, to manage my nation's national team and face the world champions. What a journey. This month was my 50th birthday, and my journey still continues. Thank you very much.